Welcome to our daily word this morning. It's Wednesday, January 31st, the last day of the new year. It's hard to believe we are ready to move into February. Brings us that much closer to spring, however, which we all don't mind, and also brings us that much closer to the season of Lent. We start Lent really early this year. February 14th is Ash Wednesday, so lots happening very quickly in the month of February. But we gather yet again today, this last day, to think about our scripture, about our lives, for me, about our mouths and our tongues and our words as I continue this part of the conversation around scripture with us. Thanks for always joining me, carving out time to be with me as you do, and for offering greetings as you join, and whatever other words of wisdom that you choose to give. I always appreciate that that you've got something out of this and that you let me know. So today is daily word number 854, and I've chosen this has been bugging me for days and days, not just a recent conversation with anyone in particular. I know sometimes folks take this personal. Really, it's not personal at all. It's not based on one conversation with anyone. It's an ongoing, troubling thing in our society. I'm at a lot of basketball games and other events, and this troubling thing that bothers me. And so I've been thinking a lot about this. And so 1 Corinthians 13, we know the long, big chapter of this and how Paul instructs us to love each other. And he begins it like this. Now, I'm going to read first from the Message version because I like how Eugene Peterson begins this. But there are other ways to look at it. 1 Corinthians 13, verse 1. If I speak with human eloquence and angelic ecstasy, but don't love, I'm nothing but the creaking of a rusty gate. Interesting words. Other versions, if I speak with the words of angels but have not love, I'm a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. I think we have this interesting phenomenon, if you will, in our society that love and words and actions, they're not. If we do anything good in our society, that we should first and foremost love. But we have this interesting phenomenon here that we listen to lots of folks in our society. And of course now, it's a political season that we're in. And the scripture reminds us, if I speak with human eloquence and angelic ecstasy, but don't love. Now think of all the fancy words that we say, all the words that we hear. We try to pump each other up by saying fancy words, but then sometimes our words are less than that. You know that I have immense difficulty and struggle when people name call. I just think that's the lowest common denominator, to call someone a name. I just can't imagine it, especially from folks, in our political culture. Everybody who's running is much older than me and us, and it's hard for me to imagine people of that age name call. But then we also hear it. I hear it at basketball games. Folks yelling at referees, folks yelling at kids, folks yelling at coaches, and calling names and saying all kinds of things. It happens a lot on Saturday night games. I always wonder about folks if they're going to church on Sunday with their less than desirable words that came out of their mouth. We can have human eloquence and angelic ecstasy, but doesn't mean we love. And if we do, then the scripture says we're nothing but the creaking of a rusty gate. You know, I thought about, and I said it yesterday, all the words that I'm involved with, all the words that are spoken by me, read by me, published by me, emails and text, and all the list goes on and on and on. I'm working on Ash Wednesday service and thinking about the words that we're going to use. The Psalm, we're going to talk a bit about Psalm 38 on Ash Wednesday. But the words that we're going to use in our liturgy, the words that are in the songs that I'm choosing, Be Still and Know That I'm God, for example. But all of that, and I get to the end of my day, but it even started first thing this morning. I went to Frisch's, sat in the corner booth, ate my pancakes today. There are little conversations going on. And I got to thinking about those conversations, and I stayed out of them mostly. Although I had a lot to say, I stayed out of them mostly because of this text. The last thing that I want, and I think the last thing that any of us want, is to be like the creaking of a rusty gate. The creaking of a rusty gate is annoying. We avoid it. You know, we only go out it if necessary. And we take drastic measures to fix it. You know, we coat it with WD-40 or with oil or whatever it is. Friends, I think for us, as we live our lives together, and as we just think about what this all means in our society, I pray that we would think about this. We can have all the fancy words to say and all the right things to say and you know, say or type or whatever it is, but we have to love. And love has to be the overarching thing before we do anything else. The last thing I want to be is a rusty gate, or a noisy gong, or a clanging cymbal. You know, the last thing I want to be is for someone to say, well, Jim's talking again. You know, geez, Jim always has something to say. And that's true, and I want that to be different. So, in a culture where we have lots to say, and we appreciate noise, and we are inexplicably dealing with name-calling from politicians, especially, and parents in the stands, especially, I would hope that we would stop, you and I, if nobody else, and know that the words that we say should be couched in love. They should always be love first. And that the lowest common denominators of name-calling, well, it should really never happen. So that's our word for today. It's a word that's bothering me. I'm struggling with it in our interactions with each other. I pray we would do better, and that we'd live our lives better, that we'd think about what we have to say, and that we would shudder at the fact that we might be like the creaking of a rusty gate, or a noisy gong, or a clanging cymbal. That's my word. That's our word. That's the daily word for today. I hope it speaks to you in the way that it does to me. And if not, I understand, you know, I get bugged by things that maybe other folks don't. I get that. But know of God's love in this place that surrounds you. Know of my love for you. And I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Have a great day.